Welcome. I'm State Senator Josh McKoon, coming to you from the Coverdell Legislative Office Building on Thursday, January the 16th. We've largely concluded our business of the first week of the legislative session of the Georgia General Assembly. We gavelled into our 2014 session on Monday, and the main action that took place in the Senate on Monday is that we elected David Cook the Secretary of the Senate. And he will be over many different administrative affairs involving the operation of the Senate. I was proud to serve on the search committee that recommended Secretary Cook, and am excited about working with him going forward following his election Monday. On day two, we considered House Bill 310, which is a bill that changes Georgia's election law. It moves our primaries from late July to late May, and it moves the runoff election from August to late July. It will provide for a 9-week runoff. The reason for this is to comply with federal law. I had some difficulties with the proposal. I felt that we could resolve the issues presented by the federal law in another way while keeping our current primary calendar, so I voted no on House Bill 310. It did pass the Senate and has moved on to the House, where it will have action later today. On the third day of our legislative session, we heard from Governor Nathan Deal. He delivered his State of the State address. And in his State of the State address, he highlighted initiatives for juvenile justice reform, education funding, and additional funding for the Port of Savannah project that I talked to you about last week. The budget clocks in at about $20.8 billion, which is the highest level for state spending since fiscal year 2007, when we had a budget of over $21 billion. Particularly notable in this budget are increases in higher education and K-12 funding to provide better operations for our elementary, secondary, and post-secondary educational institutions. And finally, today, we had a relatively quiet day. Appropriations meetings are taking place as there continues to be consideration of the governor's budget that was released yesterday. Tomorrow, Friday, which will be Legislative Day 5, I expect similar activity, very little activity on the floor, but additional committee meetings. I will come back to you next week at the end of week 2 of our legislative session with a further update. In the meantime, if you ever need any assistance from our office, don't hesitate to call us at 404-463-3931. And if you want further information about my Senate office or the initiatives that I'm working on, don't hesitate to find me online at joshmckoon.com. Thank you, and I'll see you next week.